The Great Race of Yith. The Great Race of Yith doesn't kill, it replaces. Imagine waking up one day in an alien body, 10 feet tall, cone-shaped, clawed, and realizing your mind has been swapped across millions of years. That's what the Yithians do. They're a species of pure intellect that jumps through time by forcibly switching consciousness with other beings, human or otherwise. No warning, no consent. They aren't evil, they're researchers, archivists, but their detachment is terrifying. To them, your life is a temporary vessel, just another chapter in their endless pursuit of knowledge. And when they're done, they might send your mind back, or not. Sometimes you're left screaming inside a form that doesn't breathe the way you remember. The Yith have no permanent form. When their host species dies out, they simply leap again, across time, across stars. You can't run from them. You can't hide. If they want your mind, you're already gone. In the Mythos, they're a reminder. Even thought isn't safe. Yog-Sothoth's spawn. In the Dunwich horror, something monstrous stalks the hills of Massachusetts. Unseen but enormous. Doors explode. Livestock vanish. Locals whisper of hoofprints that start and stop in midair. That horror? It's Wilbur Whately's twin. A half-human, half-entity offspring of the outer god Yog-Sothoth. Wilbur himself is disturbing. Goat-like, grotesquely precocious, growing unnaturally fast, with ancient knowledge whispered to him by his deformed family. But it's his unseen sibling, the true spawn of Yog-Sothoth, that embodies pure cosmic horror. Invisible to the eye, too large to comprehend, speaking in thunderous tones, it doesn't want revenge or control. It wants to merge with its father, with the gate, with all of time. This isn't a demon, it's a walking rift in reality. A failed hybrid of human foolishness and cosmic inevitability. And when it finally becomes visible, it's barely describable. Wrong in shape, wrong in motion. A living paradox birthed from madness. The tragedy isn't that it dies, it's that it was ever born at all. The black stars. They don't move, they don't speak. They just hang impossibly still in stories that shouldn't connect. The King and Yellow, Carcosa, even early Lovecraft. The black stars aren't just astronomical bodies, they're omens. When they appear, madness follows. Kingdoms collapse, sanity bends. People dream of cities that shouldn't exist and gods that wear tattered robes. You never see the stars appear. You realize they were always there, watching, marking you. Their alignment means something ancient is stirring. Not invading, just noticing. And when they notice, worlds unravel. In the Carcosa mythos, black stars orbit the Lake of Holly, above a city where time doesn't flow, and where logic folds in on itself. They're never explained. They're never identified, because they aren't things, they're warnings. Cosmic punctuation marks in the sky that signal reality has begun to loosen. The horror isn't what they do, it's what they foretell. When the black stars rise, you're already too late. The Old Leech. The Old Leech doesn't roar. It doesn't chase. It doesn't even speak. It waits, coiled in the folds of reality like a forgotten instinct. In Laird Barron's The Croning and his wider mythos, the Old Leech is a primordial intelligence. Not a god, not a beast, but something older than language, than thought, than flesh itself. You never see it directly. You see its echoes in stories that repeat across centuries, in malformed cults passing through bloodlines, in the sudden terror that your memories aren't your own. It infects through stories, families, inherited trauma. Its children crawl beneath the skin of the world, whispering, gestating, preparing. The Old Leech isn't here to destroy. It's here to harvest. Your life, your lineage, your perception of time, all tangled in its parasitic grip. And the worst part? You never knew it was feeding on you. You only realize once it's already in you, and by then, you're just another part of the body. Ubbo-Sathla, beneath the earth, beneath time, beneath even thought, Ubbo-Sathla festers. Introduced by Clark Ashton Smith and folded into the broader mythos, this being isn't intelligent, vengeful, or even aware. It's a shapeless, protoplasmic mass from which all life supposedly originated. It endlessly bubbles and oozes in a hidden cavern, guarding forbidden tablets that predate human language. What makes Ubbo-Sathla terrifying isn't its form, it's its role. It is life's accidental parent, a blind biological mistake that spawned evolution, chaos, sentience, and regret. It doesn't dream, it doesn't act, it just is, eternally reproducing itself, filling the world with organic runoff. The horror here is existential. What if the source of all creation wasn't a god or divine force, but a dull, drooling, directionless blob? Something that never knew what it did. Something that never cared. In cosmic horror, Ubbo-Sathla is the ultimate reminder. Intelligence isn't the pinnacle of creation. It might just be a side effect of something that should have stayed underground. SCP-2317's entity. The file says it's a wooden door. Behind it, another world. Desolate, broken, held together by ritual and bureaucracy. But at the center of that void stands an enormous, chained entity, one leg already free. It's never named in the main SCP entry, but in whispers it's called the Scarlet King, or the Devourer of Worlds. And if the last of the 7 seals breaks, reality ends. Not with an explosion, but a collapse into cosmic oblivion. This isn't a god of wrath. It's a force of anti-creation, a being of such metaphysical weight that its mere awakening would unravel existence. And the real horror? No one knows if the seals even work anymore. The rituals continue out of habit. Hope? That died centuries ago. The Foundation keeps smiling, but the entity keeps shifting, waiting. Every time a containment ritual fails, the door creaks louder. SCP-2317 isn't about stopping a god. It's about knowing you're already inside its dream and you're starting to wake it up. The Pnakotic Beings. They don't walk among us. They dream through us. The Pnakotic Beings, mentioned subtly in Lovecraft's Mythos, are ancient, immaterial intelligences who exist outside linear time. They aren't monsters. They're echoes of consciousness, slipping between eons, tethered only by thought and memory. They communicate through the Pnakotic manuscripts, cryptic texts said to hold truths about the universe's deepest layers, truths no human mind should process. These entities reside in dream realms older than Earth, where geometry folds backward and history becomes suggestion. They pass ideas into sleeping prophets, causing civilizations to rise or self-destruct without ever showing their form. You might glimpse them in fever dreams or hear their will echo through impossible architecture. What makes them terrifying is how passive they are. They don't invade, they whisper. And by the time you understand what they are, you've already acted on their will. They don't possess you. They don't control you. They inspire you, and that's worse because it still feels like your idea. Tulzscha, it doesn't move. It doesn't roar. It doesn't kill. It watches, burning silently with a sickly green flame in places where no fire should be. Tulzscha, barely mentioned in Lovecraft's The Festival, isn't a god in the way we understand them. It's something worse, an observer, ancient and eternal, flickering at the edge of rituals older than language. It appears in hidden ceremonies, in crumbling crypts, where cults kneel without knowing why. No warmth, no smoke, just presence. And when Tulzscha shows up, people change. Not suddenly, not violently, but permanently. Memories soften, choices rearrange. You blink, and you've always served the flame. Tulzscha doesn't act. It influences, doesn't speak, but somehow convinces. Doesn't want worship. It wants something deeper. Acceptance. And when you finally lock eyes with that writhing fire, it doesn't feel wrong. It feels familiar. The horror isn't that it sees you, it's that you begin to see it, and you like what you see.
Subscribe for more interesting stuff. Tell us your experience in the comments.